All right, here we go. This Revit tip is way important. It's probably bigger than a Revit tip. It's like the whole iceberg. Yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. We're talking about property lines today. Now, if you've never been in a dispute on any project about the property line, this won't make as not that it won't make sense, but it won't hit as hard. Okay. But let me just tell you, property lines are important because property lines are the boundaries of where you're allowed to build. You cannot build outside the property lines. No go. No go. No way. Okay. So, oftentimes, even, there are setbacks associated with those property lines, such that they might say on your side property, you have to come in 15 feet, a setback of 15 feet on the side setback, and you cannot build within 15 feet of your property line. Or the front setback, they might say 30 feet back from the front of your property line, you cannot build. So this is an important, very important aspect to design. And Revit does property lines. But let me just tell you one of the main reasons that we're having this conversation right now. All right, I've got one client where there's two architects working on a project, okay? One of the architects is building one building, and on the same site, there's another architect working on another building, okay? They're working together and they're friends. And this guy says the property line is right here. But this guy says the property line's over here. And they are staying within the setbacks of their property lines, but these guys are disputing where the true property line is. It matters because if you're allowed to build right up to a zero lot line and you cannot build over the property line, but you decide to design right up to and touching the property line, what if your property line was drawn wrong, a foot into someone else's property, and you try to build? I'm telling you, you're going to get fired. No, you're going to get a lawsuit or a fine or have to start. You're going to have to tear your foundation or your building out if it ever gets built past where it's supposed to. So, if you can get your brain wrapped around how important property lines are, then we'll proceed. So I'll give you a minute. You just go ahead. Just like get your brain wrapped around the fact that you can get fired. All right, let me share my screen and we'll go into Revit and we'll do property lines the proper way. Okay? They're not proper lines, they're property lines. Here we go. Share screen and share with you. Okay? And where am I going? Got to have Revit up and running. There we go. Revit is up and running now. Okay, here we go. Whew. All right, let's go to our site plan, okay? There. This is save project. No, leave me alone. Okay, this is our top-down view of our building and a piece of topo surface. But I don't have a property line here. And I want to show you when we go to build a property line, we don't have to have the building right there. We can build this thing off to the side and then move it exactly into the proper location. I know that sounds backwards because it would be great if you could start the project and you had the plat plan and you had the exact property line. In fact, you should. You should, before you even start your project, get this from the civil guy. But I don't know how many architecture firms start with the site and put their property lines down first and then their setbacks down, and then they start drawing their building. Doesn't that seem logical? Okay. If for some reason you dove right in and you just started cranking on the building and you got the design going and you're having a great old time, but then you've got to put it on to a site, that's where you can actually build. I'm just telling you, you can build the property line and then you can move it over right to your building. We'll deal with that some other time. Right now, the most important thing is learning how to deal with property lines and how they work, okay? What we're gonna do, we're gonna build a property line right over here, okay? Near my building. And maybe we'll put the building onto the site. There we go, simple as that. We'll build the property line on the property and then we'll move our building onto the site. So let's just say this topo doesn't exist. Ding, gone. Ah. So now I got a building that I can actually move onto my property. Okay, here we go. So when you talk to the civil engineer, what you're going to get from them is a plot plan, or sometimes they call it a plat plan. And that's because people can't figure out how to spell it. That's what they do. They call it both. But let me get the plat plan in here and show you what I'm talking about. If you get one from AutoCAD, from the civil engineer, you could link it in as an underlay, or you can get a print of it right next to you and just enter the numbers in from the print, or you can bring in an image. You can take a photograph of it and bring it in so that you can reference it right on screen. So let's do that. I'm going to bring in the plat plan into this view. So watch this. I'm going to go insert this is my site plan. Insert a image. And I'm going to go get plat, open, and look at this, an image. Ding, there it is. Look at that. Okay. We're not done. This is just an image. You need to use the real true Revit property lines in your project, and then we get rid of this image. But the reason I have this image is so we can look at it. Let's see, plat number 1 kind of goes off of the edge, so we're not going to use that. Plat 2, that's a long, skinny plat where you barely have 32 feet across the front. So I'm like, no, let's not buy that property. Here's a piece of property we could buy and put our building on. Number 3. It's got 89.38 feet across the front, which is fairly reasonable, but it's long and pointy. Nah, let's not buy number 3. Wait, look at this. Plat number 4 is available for us to purchase. And it has 135-foot frontage. That's pretty good. About 181 foot deep, 163 on that side. This is looking good, and some frontage, and there's a little river or something going on here. Let's buy property number 4. Okay. Now take a look on this plat plan. I just want to show you something. This line, or these lines right here that I'm delineating, I'm pointing at, these go around plat number 4, and these numbers here describe the exact length of the line and the angle that it is, okay? The angle that this line is, so that we can get this exactly perfect, okay? So here we go. What I'm going to do before I get going is this will only take a second. Let me switch my site plan and make sure that I'm not using Project North. I want to use True North. So this orients to True North. Wherever True North is up right now, okay? That is where True North is. So if I had, I'm just going to put a little arrow in here, and okay, look at that. Just going to put an arrow in. That is True North. And if I type right there, look at this. I'm going to put capital letters. True North. Look at me. No way. That's True North because I've set my plan to True North. So these dimensions, this is exactly how the plan looks on the earth if you went to look at a map, okay? There's a road going by, and there's a river over here, and this is the plat. Okay, so let's, a little bit of coffee makes everything better. Okay, so here we go. What we're going to do is draw this out. Now, one of the things that you're going to notice right here, this is the distance, the length of that line. It says 163.69 feet. And so it's in decimal feet. So what I recommend for you when you guys go to put a property line on is just temporarily switch your project units so that it's in decimal feet. And then do your property line, and then you can switch it back to foot and inches or meters or whatever you use in the country that you're working in, okay? So we're going to go to decimal feet. And so I'm going to come up here, and you go to Manage, and then you click on Project Units, and right here under next to Length, you click that button, and instead of feet and fractional inches that I have mine set to, you guys might have yours set to meters or millimeters, whatever. In Revit 2021, we've got US survey feet. In 2020, version 20, Revit 2020 and older, you'll probably have decimal feet. And it's the same thing as survey feet. So click on this US survey feet or decimal feet, and let's put the I'm going to put the decimals rounding to 2 places, okay? So I'm going to say okay. All right, just say okay. So now when we go to put these in, it's going to use decimal feet, and it'll be easier for us to work with. So here we go. We're going to make plat number 4. So it doesn't matter where you start when you start your project. So we could start in this top corner or over here. Let's just start down here in the bottom left, okay? What we want to do is we're going to go clockwise around, and the idea is that this goes all the way around and it closes. The distance and the angles have to equal each other and work together to close this thing. It has to be perfect, okay? So here we go. To put a property line on your project, you go up here to Massing and Site, and there's a button right there. Look at that. Property line. When you click it, it asks you a quick question. How do you want to do this? Create by sketch is go ahead and just click wherever you want and get into a lawsuit later because you didn't put it in correctly. Or the better choice is this button, create by entering distances and bearings. That's the one we're going to click on. Okay, I'll give the other button a little bit of credit. If you click create by sketching, what that could entail is if you have a CAD underlay that you trust, I mean you trust, you could create by sketching and draw right over the property line that you have linked in. But I don't like doing that because what if they got it wrong? What we're going to do is create by entering distances. So I'm going to click that button. Okay, and what pops up is this dialog box, and it's a pretty scary dialog box when you first see it. It's like, whoa, that's scary. But the truth is, as soon as I start entering data, you're going to go, oh, that's not so scary. I can handle that. It's kind of like anything in life. The first time you see something, it might frighten you, but once you get used to it, it's okay. This whole data box for property lines is going to be okay. So here we go. It has one in there that's 0 feet long and at a 90-degree bearing. Well, that's not what we want. Let's take a look. In fact, let me explain these lines before we get too far. I'm going to hit cancel because I want to explain this line. This line here, this is our first line that we're going to draw. It's 163.69 feet long, but what angle? On this number here, it gives us an angle 35 degrees, 24 minutes, and 22 seconds. But it has an N at the beginning and an E at the end. What do those mean? Because this one over here has an S at the beginning and an E at the end. And over here, this one ends in a W. Okay, so let me explain what these are. This N is at the beginning of this angle is either going to be an N or an S. It's going to be a north or a south. And that's where you start from, north or south. And then you go the angle toward the east or the west. So work with me here. Look at this. This thing's going to be 163 feet long, right? 163.69. Here we go. If I drew a line that long directly, follow the N, north, and then I go 35 degrees, 24 minutes, and 22 seconds eastward. See? That direction to the right. Then I will have this line. So let's talk this one through just for a second. It's 135 feet long. So to get this line, I need to start going south. If I went south, due south 135 feet, but then I swung my line to the east, see that? Start with going south and swing east. And the angle we're going to swing east is 63 degrees, 03 minutes, and 42 seconds. That's how far we swing to the east. It's brilliant, okay? And so getting these lines in here, that's how it works on a plat plan. And we just have to follow that same information as we are putting them in. So here we go. I'm going to move the mouse a little bit. Okay, we're going to start right over here. Here we go. Massing and site, click on property line, and create by entering distances and bearings. Now here we go. Let's fill this out for the first one. It's the distance is first, 163.69. And this is 163.69. Okay? And you can put the foot symbol if you want to, because as soon as you move, it disappears. So this assumes feet every time, okay? Look, 163.69. Now, north, N is the first one. See how you can have a drop down for north-south? We're going to leave it on N. We need to put these numbers in. 35, I'm going to put it right here, 35. And the next one's 24. So it's 35 degrees, 24 minutes, and 22 seconds. 22 seconds. To the east, okay? And we're drawing a line. If I say okay, I'm carrying that line. See? I'm basically carrying that line on my cursor. And I'm just going to place it right here. Bing! You heard it go bing. That was an error. It says, hey, this is not a loop. I know it's not a loop. Duh, it's a single line. But it's at least warning me. And so we're not going to have an area or like a square footage or an acreage calculation off of this because it's just a single line. Once you get a closed loop, then it will give you acreage, it'll give you square footage, it'll give you information. But we've got a single line. And it's kind of wimpy line. Isn't that like a wuss line? It's like not very dark. Let me show you how to beef up those on your site plan. Here's where I want you to go. Manage, Object Styles, and I want you to scroll down to the Site category and expand it, and you'll see Property Lines. So the line weight of the projection, property line, I'm going to put it on 10. Come on, man. Let's have a line weight. I'm going to say, okay. All right, that's what we're talking about. That's a line weight right there. You can put it bigger if you want, but 10's plenty for me, okay? I just wanted to get it up there so you can see it. Okay, let's continue with this next number. So what you do is you pick your property line, and then I say Edit Table. And all we're going to do is there's a button right here for Insert, and it inserts the next line. And we just have to fill this information in. 135 feet. Let's see how fast we can go on this one. 135 feet. South, we start with south. And so I change this to an S, and then we go 63 degrees. Work with me. 63 degrees. 03 minutes. 42 seconds. This is precise information here. And east. Good. And so we're done with that. So look. Boom. The second leg is done. Do you see what's happening here, friends? I'm going to click now and edit the table, and we're going to put in the third leg. Okay. Right down here it says 181 feet. Oh, hit insert. 181.10 feet. north, see the N, north, 43 degrees, 24 minutes, 22 seconds toward the east. Okay, when I say okay, look what happened. Are you kidding me? The person that put this on that plat plan needs to be slapped down right now. Basically, if you were starting at this point down at the bottom and you went north and then 43 degrees over toward the east, you would have this line. But from that point coming down, you need to go south, go 43 degrees to the west. But it's easy to fix. Do not get scared. Look at this. I just highlight my line, edit the table. The exact opposite direction is switch. All you have to do is switch north to south and east to west and hit OK. And it puts it back where it's supposed to. Whew, don't get scared. If that happens to you, see, we've got a plat plan that's incorrect. Do you realize that? Okay. So you can't trust anybody, it seems. No, I'm just kidding. Some people you can't trust, but it's really hard to find good help, okay? Let's finish this. We have two more legs. If you look here, we have this little guy and this little guy over here, okay? So I'm going to click on the line, edit the table, and we're going to put this one in. Insert 44 feet, 0.94. 44.94 feet, north 49 degrees, 20, it looks like an 8, 28, we'll know soon enough, 28 minutes and 19 seconds toward the west. Okay, good. Okay, that's good. Whew. See, so if you get your angles wrong, it's not going to close. So here we go. We're going to finish this thing. Get ready. Edit the table. Edit. Here we go. We're looking at last one. Insert. Okay. We are going to go. Where are we? There we go. We are going 64.08 feet. 64.08 feet. Okay. At what angle? North. Good. 61 degrees. 61. 59 minutes. That's almost 62 degrees because there's 60 minutes and 0.2 seconds. Okay. When I say okay, it goes over there. Why did it go over there? All right, let's edit the table. Oh, it said west. So I need to change that last east to west. Bam! Oh, are you kidding me? Look at that. Now, when you click on when you highlight the property line and you hit edit table, it will tell you right down here at the bottom that it's closed. That's good to know. It actually is closed, okay? So this thing is our property line. And this is accurate. It is exactly using the numbers of bearing and distance from our plat plan so that we know we've got it exactly right, okay? Now, you can get rid of your plat plan if you want to, but I'm going to leave it there just for a minute. So what I want to show you guys is if someone tells you to go ahead and put offsets, setbacks on this, you can do that easily. You can say, if you want to, look at this. I'm going to go to the architecture tab, and with a model line, a model line actually draws a line on the ground, okay? So I can see it from any plan that I'm in. I can turn this stuff off or on later, but right now I just want to show you. I would like a line right here on the ground at, what kind of a line do I want? I don't actually have a line in here that's called setback lines. So let me just make one. I'm going to go to Manage, Additional Settings, Line Styles, hit New. Okay, this one's going to be called Site Setbacks. Site Setbacks. That sounds good to me. Site setbacks are going to be an 8. I'm going to make them an 8, and I'm going to make them in gray, and I'm just going to use dash lines or something. Dash lines. Okay. So I now have a line that's called setbacks, so I can put them on my plan. So what did I say earlier? You cannot build within 15 feet of the sides of this property. So let's do it. So what I do is I go to Architecture, Model Line, and I'm going to use this button right here for picking existing lines. But I'm going to set my offset distance to 15 feet. Okay? And now look at this. When I click here, I get a typical line. What I should have done was made sure that was, wait for it, site setbacks line. Okay? So look at that. I get a gray, might be hard to see on the computer, a gray site setback line. Let's do another one on this side, 15 feet. In fact, I'll dimension it for you. From there to there is 15 feet. Okay? You guys see that? 15 feet. Let me just change my site plan scale up to 1 to 20 so it's easier to deal with. 1 to 20. Bam. Okay. See that? Do you guys see it? 15 feet. And if I want to, I can click on it and say setback. Okay. Boom. 15-foot setback. Now I'm going to put one on the other side. I go up here to Architecture, Model Line. I'm going to switch this time before I even start the site setbacks of 15 feet. Okay. And I'll put one on this side. And then I'm going to change to 30 feet for the front setback. Okay. So if I let me just, okay, I'm going to drag that a little bit longer and drag this one a little bit longer without changing the angle or anything. Okay. Now I'm going to put my dimensions on there to the front. Okay. Look at that. 30 feet to the side, 15 feet. And if you click on it, you can, it'll open up this dialog box, and I'm going to write below it, setback, 30-foot setback, 15-foot setback, and another one, 15-foot setback right here, setback. Okay. Okay. So this is my site. And so this is where I am right now. I've got true north coming to the top. I've got my site setbacks all in place. Everything's great. But how about we put some annotation on it to tell what the length of those lines are and the angle they're at, just like they show on the plat plan, because I want them on my plan also. So what I'm going to do is go to Annotate, and I'm going to go Tag. And when I click one of these, it says, dude, you have no tag that's loaded for these property line segments. I'm like, what? And do you want to load one? I'm like, yes. Now I got a surprise for you, friends. If you go on your computer to the content that you downloaded for all of Revit, and you go into annotations, because that's what we want, annotations, you're not going to find the site setback stuff. The site setback tag, not the site setback, the property line tag is not in here. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm looking under the P's and it's not there. So wait, maybe it's under architectural and it's not there either. In fact, I can't find it anywhere. So what I want to tell you guys is Revit did not ship with a tag to put on these property lines. You have to make one. And that's what we're going to do next week when we do another Revit tip. I'm going to show you how to make a property line tag from scratch. I'm going to show you the one I made so that you can get excited about next week's Revit tip. So here we go. Look at this. If I go to load a tag, for this property line segment, it's going to say I don't have one, and I know that. So I'm going to say, yeah, load one. And you won't find it in the content, but I made one, and I want to show you where it is. Not where it is, but I'm going to put it in my project. It's under Documents, Revit Local. There we go. Property line segment tag. I made this yesterday, and wait for it. You guys ready to see it? I'm going to turn off the leader. Now look. Bam, 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 bam. Now we're going to zoom in and we're going to look at this. Are you kidding me? Can you guys see the number? We're looking for 63 south, 63, 0. Hey, if I bump this back, you'll be able to see better if I bump this back up to 1 to 40. Just so that you can see it. I'll be nice. Okay, look at this. Can you guys see that? South, 6303, 42 inches east at 135.00 feet. It's exactly what is on the plat plan. These numbers correspond exactly to the plat plan. And now I'm ready to go, and I can move this guy along this line so it's out of the way of some other annotation. And I'm telling you, this is fantastic and amazing stuff. We will make one of these tags next week when we have our Revit tip. All right, that's about enough of building these property lines in Revit today. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to tell you guys, it is so important to get your property lines correct on your plans. Next week, we're going to talk about getting your building oriented on the site and how to make one of those tags that you can place on the line of the segment of the property line and have it read correctly. All right? Well, until then, you guys have a fantastic day or weekend or whatever you're going to do, and enjoy. Happy Reviting, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.